Welcome back to Improvision Entertainment. My name is Huntermun, and this is going to be more of Euro Truck Simulator 2, and also a little bit more of the last podcast unlocked for IGN as of the recording of this episode. I'm going to click the button on that. I am still in the same recording session as flipping my truck after hours of play. I apologize for
what I would assume
the
is a
waste of
resource
time,
thing
I guess,
and a
that
project
probably
management
appears
thing,
as.
right? And
I'm
that's such a
feeling
hard
pretty
problem to
distraught about
solve
it
for,
and
especially
kind of
if
want
you
to
don't
stop
necessarily
playing.
have the resources
I'm
that
being
you
totally
need to
honest.
build this.
But
Then that
I'm gonna
begs the
try and
question
get
of,
to
like,
at least 4 hours
how
worth
did
of a
you guys
stream.
plan for that to know how much
We are going from the
resources
city
you
I got
need to
dropped off
sustain this
in
to keep those
to
quality of life updates constantly rolling out to have
Venice,
more
because we've
maps,
not
to have
actually been to Venice,
these
Italy, and we need
massively
to
long seasons with,
at
like,
least be making
shorter
progress on
air
hitting
and
cities we
non
haven't been to
updates,
before.
it's just really disappointing because I really expected more out of
They're
this
still talking about
because of the position 3
Halo split screen being dropped
and that's where this comes
for
from
Infinite.
because I'm just like, oh well, you know, they tried their best, but I look at a lot of these like indie studios and other places out there that are doing a lot with, I think, a lot less, or what I would assume is a lot less. And it's really incredible, and I think I just am sad for the team at 343 that they're not really getting to realize the potential of Halo Infinite at this point.
You know, Miranda, you and I were talking off air. We started the show before the show,
Yeah.
over in the editorial pit today, and we were talking about how.
Oh man.
With the always applicable.
I'm sorry,
caveat,
guys.
We are not game developers.
Yes.
We have never been game developers, but it sure seems like continuity matters on a team. It's not the be all end all, but you look at Naughty Dog, you look at Rockstar North up through Grand Theft Auto 5. You look at some of these. I mean, id Software before, up through Rage, and now there's a new team at id that's been pretty. They've stuck together, Marty and Hugo. But like, you look at some of these really successful franchises and teams behind them, there is continuity there. You have a lot of the same leads, you have a consistent vision that helps get this done. Now, I don't disagree that the talent, the talent has been on display at 343 over and over again. From
I wouldn't agree with that.
the incredible visual punch that Halo 4 packed on an aging Xbox 360 to the revitalized multiplayer
Oh,
that
man.
Halo 5 brought us, to a great
Trying to pass,
open
change lanes
raid
fast,
campaign
going
of
quick in a
Halo
curve.
Infinite.
Everything about that was dumb,
The
and
talent has been there.
if I was going to blame an exterior force, I would blame it on how hot it is in this room.
Does
But
that
I'm not.
consistency
I just
matter, or is
legit
this
screwed up. I
really-
didn't know that making a
is
mistake
there-
that bad
do
was
we
going to
have
like
just keep
completely
moving
end the
up
run.
chain here and, like,
The truck
pulling
is
back the
repaired
camera
for
until
anybody
we find
just coming
the
in.
problem.
I think the latter is what it is, right? Because I think there's always something to be said for new talent, new blood, new
Oh,
ideas,
man.
new perspectives, and that will only make
It's
your
embarrassing,
games and
too,
your-
for that
your
matter.
stories and all these things stronger. I think having additional perspectives always does.
I just
a lot
realized I
for a
can't see my
team.
other mirror.
Because there's a lot to consider. Maybe someone coming in with a fresh perspective will say, "Hey, maybe what if we did this instead?" And it's like, "Oh, that's really helpful." However, I think to your point, we've seen a lot of turnover with Halo.
Yeah.
And the 343 team, like after every big release, it's like, "All right,
I mean,
well,
yeah,
time to
it's
shuffle."
telling in some way that
Yeah.
these people are not sticking around.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying it's a bad culture. I'm not pinpointing any one thing, but you look
We
at
can't say, but
right, like Quinn Del Hoyo, multiplayer lead, has left. Paul Crocker, who was the creative director on the campaign, left. Jerry Hook, longtime Bungie and then 343 guy, left. There are a bunch more. I should have made a list, but there's been a lot of turnover. I know this was clearly a hard project, right, Destin? Like, clearly Infinite was a
Yeah, like maybe they should
very
stop
difficult
making Halo
project.
for a while.
And the problem with turnover, Ryan, is you have to start from the ground up again with a new employee. When you go take them through the training process, get them into the team, like it takes a while.
The
to get those
tools
wheels
as well. When
moving.
you have a proprietary in-house engine, which
Yeah.
again, I'm not saying Slipspace is the problem. It's a beautiful engine. It looks great in Infinite, but you do have that extra loop of having to onboard people with your tools as well.
Well, I was making a comparison to Destiny. Miranda, sorry, did I cut you
Oh,
off?
no, I think you just heard Daisy.
Oh, we were making a comparison to Destiny, or I was making comparison to Destiny over the weekend. We look at where that is today. They're constantly having great updates, and people are really enjoying what they're bringing to the table. Multiplayer is a little rocky, but about 2 years in, with Taken King way back with original Destiny, they felt like they were finally hitting their stride, and they've had ups and downs since then. It's been 10 years with the Halo franchise, and it still doesn't feel like the team at 343 has really hit their stride, especially with where we're at with Infinite. Now we go back to Halo 5. Here's what they had month 1. They had 4 new maps, big team battle. Month 2, 4 new maps, 30 new wrecks, like tons of stuff. Month 3, 50 new wrecks, 2 new maps. Month 4, 1 new map. So by month 4, we've had more maps than we've had for the entirety of Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite, this far, has only had, what, 2 new maps? A bunch of temporary modes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 temporary modes that like are coming in and going out. They finally were able to add where you can hit the escape key and actually see where you're at with your weekly challenges, but they can't even accurately track how many more kills you have left or let you go to the next one in the middle of a match. The XP gains during in-game matchmaking for multiplayer, like, it's just not where it needs to be. And when they're advertising on their roadmap that we're going to get Match XP beta sometime in November to March, it's like, how is this being addressed a year into development? And then we don't even get Season 3 until March 7th of next year.
Well, I'm glad you started on this. I want to come back to this. We got to take another quick break. Be right back.
Sure, man.
All right, so the Destin, you started to go down a road that I wanted to talk about here, because it's the sample size. Again, I'm rooting like hell for 343 to look. Nobody wants to see them falter or fail. We want Halo to be awesome.
This is the turn for
to
Venice.
Be this crowning achievement for this thing that all Xbox players can hold in super high regard, and not that we don't with Infinite, but again, there are clearly issues here again, and we have a sample size now with 343. It has been, as you said, Destin, 10 years. We have 4 projects, 4 big games, and let's just take a look at them. To your point about Destin, about them not hitting their stride, let's take a look at each one, just from a real high-level perspective. Halo 4, great campaign, in my opinion. I stand by my review for IGN. But fair to say,
meh.
Underwhelming multiplayer. Maps weren't as memorable. Kind of tried to do a little bit of a Call of Duty thing with loadouts.
Did not go over well.
Yeah, it did not hit. It did not hit the way that Halo multiplayer had up to that point hit every time. Yeah. Master Chief Collection. We know the story there. Broken at launch, and it took a long time in crisis mode for them to. They eventually got it there, but burning a lot of goodwill, making a lot of players feel like they wasted their $60. Halo 5, terrible campaign.
Terrible campaign.
Not absolutely terrible. We've been over that a bajillion times as well. But conversely, as much as I didn't like the campaign, I thought the multiplayer was amazing. Mm-hmm. Phenomenal multiplayer. The best since Halo 2, in my
I have concerns
opinion.
about curves.
Plenty of Halo 3 fans would disagree with me there. That's okay. And then we fast forward quite a long time. 6 years, in fact, go by before we reach Halo Infinite, which I stand by my 9 out of 10 campaign review for IGN. Campaign fantastic. They brought it home. Joseph Staten helped bring it to the finish line with a talented team. And great campaign. And the bones of multiplayer were great too. But yet now here we are with history repeating itself of just them not being able to. It's like they just can't swim. It's like they're swimming upstream again here. So
they delayed it a year too.
That's true.
Let's not forget. They're like, oh, it's not ready. They delayed it a year. Yeah. What would we have gotten if they had released it at their original target?
Well, and
right?
It's not. It's not a small thing to miss a console launch. No. That certainly threw a big wrench in Microsoft's plans for launching their next-gen console. But so again, yeah, we.
Okay, we're getting traffic. This is what killed me a few minutes ago.
Pose is, well, one of the
Last
questions.
recording.
Has 343? This is like this is really a. I don't want it to sound this doom and gloom. You know what? I'll phrase it this way. I won't even phrase. I'll phrase it this way. I think it's fair to look at the resources spent on 343 in the past decade and ask, are they the best stewards of the franchise going forward? Now, to clarify that, they're not going to close 343. They're not going to lay off all those people. That's not going to happen. But there is a scenario, I think a realistic scenario, in which Matt and Phil and the leadership at Microsoft could say, all right, we want to hand Halo off in terms of the next big project to another team, and we want you guys just to focus on just infinite support, just get this right. So I think that is a plausible scenario, particularly when Microsoft now has so many teams.
The hell? What just happened?
The banner after all these acquisitions. I mean, you've got
what just happened?
Games, you've got id Software.
Why am I stopped? Why did I take damage?
Talented first-person shooter game developers around. So, Destin, I'm going to go your way first. And again,
I mean, I guess the thing was coming down.
Treat this
I am cooked a little too hot to be able to play this game right now, apparently. That is unfortunate. I apologize for everything that's happening.
Fanboy commenter on YouTube, not a knee-jerk thing. After these 10 years and these 4 big projects, are 343 the best stewards of this franchise moving forward?
I don't think so.
That's a really difficult question.
It is. No, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot. You don't have to even say yes or no. I want to have the conversation here, because I guarantee there are conversations that are happening or have happened at the higher levels of Xbox leadership. How could there not? You know,
I think.
Go ahead, Des.
Sorry.
Please. No, please.
I think something catastrophic happened internally. There were a lot of people who left before Staten came on, and here's Staten, who has basically said straight up, look, I'm just going to take L's for the next year, because that's year or two, because that's how long we need to get this back on track. And he's been very public about it. I think 343 has mostly failed with being stewards of the Halo franchise.
I would agree with that.
Give them the Halo Infinite campaign, but there have been tremendous missteps over the last year. You launch a great campaign, gameplay feels right, but multiplayer just can't get on track. There's some really basic features that take way too long to be addressed, and it's incredibly concerning. Matt Booty talked about recently over the weekend at PAX, I believe he said something along the lines of traditional AAA studios aren't a thing anymore. It's about collaboration and working together and new systems. I do think that 343 needs a support system. Now, I don't know if that ends up being id Software stepping in to help them.
Not them. They're A-list talent.
No. I'm saying just show them how to make a game that launches feature complete, as opposed to sort of wishy-washy, right? I'm not sure what they need to adjust or change internally, but it's not working. I don't know if it's like management structure or production scheduling or what is going on, but take those L's for the next 2 years. But I think they have exhausted their leeway with the community at this point, and the community is just sort of fed up.
And that's definitely fair. Miranda, as you are distracted by there goes the Brindle monster to run away.
Yeah, so I think, thinking long and hard about this, and especially the Matt Booty comment that you also pulled up, Dustin, it's really good as well. I think what they need is just the development support. They need development support specifically for multiplayer. As we've all said, we all really enjoyed the campaign. I think at least most of us enjoyed the multiplayer at launch.
Sure.
The base of it was really good until things started breaking, right? I think at launch there was one map I was like, if I never play this again, that would be fine. but then everything else was like phenomenal. Like I had no qualms with it.
Yeah.
It's just been the support on going from there. So I think what they really need here is just another team, some other studio to come and support their multiplayer development. And I think, or I would hope that that would solve a lot of the ongoing issues that are happening right now, so that the team that wants to focus on the campaign features, on the next campaign thing, on the next cool story beat for multiplayer, should they want to like invest a little bit more in that and do maybe more creative things with it, that they could do that, right? I think that's what I would hope for.
I agree with you, Miranda. I do want to add one caveat. If that team comes in and they are under the same management structure that has continually failed, they're set up for failure.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. I think that's what it is, right? You don't bring in another team because everything's going great, right? Like you're bringing another team because there's something fundamentally that was set up that's not working as it should. And I guess from my perspective, so obviously I haven't worked in game development, but I sure as hell do a lot of project management. And I think one of the big things, right, is at least for how I manage things. And
this turn is closed.
A lot of projects and a lot of people, and not the same scale at all. I'm not trying to say that of like a whole studio, but a lot of the things
I have royally screwed up.
You're trying to go in and solve the puzzles. Like, okay, what does this team? What do these people need to be successful? How can I help them make this project successful? Like, what resources, or where do we need to scale back? And really plan.
Man, just let me in.
Can for the future, and of course there will be problems, but part of the thing is just trying to guess of how can you solve for those problems before they even happen. And so I think at this point, just because it does seem like they are from this messaging, I'm assuming for resources and the talent internally to be able to
everything going wrong this morning.
Solutions for those resources. It does seem like if they were to have another team come in to assist,
waking up being super tired,
some of the load of certain kinds of projects that
spending like
off, and then
2.5 hours on a trip and fucking crashing.
Because I do ultimately think story-wise and creatively, I want to see 343 keep up at it. I think that there's a lot of people, I'm assuming, really care about Halo with Eric. You don't go work at 343 because you don't care about Halo, right? Exactly. You go because that's the Halo studio. Like, that's the big thing. Like, you want to go work for Master Chief and make sure he has a cool adventure that we're all going to enjoy and love. And, you know, they really killed it with Halo Infinite. And I just want to see that team get what they need to keep succeeding. And I think one ongoing conversation we've had too is about this being a live service.
Okay,
product,
enough money to get a new warehouse, but not enough money to get a new driver.
Things come up and just not work well, or like story-wise or mechanically, just not really click with people. And then several years down the line, it suddenly pops. So that can't happen with this. But I think the problem, to reiterate what we've said as well, is that this is a flagship franchise for Microsoft. This is like the Xbox title, and it having these issues is what is, I think, concerning, just to speak for all of us. I think that's just to sort of sum it up really quickly of a big problem that we're seeing.
We will finish this topic up here after one more break. All right, Miranda.
You'd think they'd fix Halo Infinite just so that they can keep adding to it forever.
And in fact, Miranda, I want to come back to that and get
maybe launch the next game in it for Game Pass.
When we're looking at these issues that have plagued now this game, Infinite, I'll ask this. Just it's kind of a hypothetical. I'm not trying to influence an answer one way or the other. I don't even know what I would say yet, but has Halo itself been miscast as a live service game? Does it have to be that to be successful? Again, this is like a real higher level business kind of conversation where there's, you know, ongoing revenue and this and that, but like, does Halo have to be this ongoing thing, or can it just be a once every 4 years big release with a great campaign and a great multiplayer suite that maybe gets a few more some DLC, and then
I really wanted to do that one route this entire sitting, and I screwed it up.
Or has the industry
Venezia
changed to the point where, because clearly Microsoft has felt this way thus far, has the industry changed to the point where your flagship game does need to be a live service thing?
Exit. Right.
Can I go?
Destin, go ahead, please.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I can see a world where Halo is successful as a live service game We get content drops during the holidays, big campaign things, because the campaign was great. What's more concerning for me is when I hear 343 say things that doesn't sound like what I'm hearing from the community and what I feel as a player. You go back to the original Halo, it's a highly competitive game, was one of the quotes. I'm just like, what? The original Halo was about couch co-op and playing with your friends in a fun manner. You also had one of the most broken weapons in all of Halo history with the
Don't you get that out of your mouth. You get those words out of your mouth.
Yeah. But like, that's not what I
You just weren't talented enough with that gun. 3-shot death pistol. I will crush you on any map. Let's go.
That's not what I think of for the original Halo. That's not what I think of for the sequel. Sure, you had ranked and normal for Halo 2 and online, but also they talk about, we have the metrics, we know what people want. Did your metrics tell you to take out the movement mechanics that everybody was celebrating at launch? Like, why was that patched out? Why did you take out the Scorpion turret?
Venice discovered.
And all the fun glitches that people were finding during campaign were like Mint Blitz's
Imperator,
final
21 of
map.
26.
And then you, like, get rid of that
That's
momentum.
for
That was
all of the
silly and
locations in
fun,
Italy.
and that felt really Halo to me, right? Like in a goofy, okay way. And they're putting resources toward fixing non-problems, right? And when you're focusing so much on metrics and you're talking about Halo being a highly competitive game, I just feel like I don't even know what you're talking about anymore.
So to kind of play on your point a little bit, one of the things that I love in a multiplayer game is the option to be creative with the tools they give you. And I think Halo, as you're saying, has that very unique space where it's just really goofy. Like, I love Halo because, like, you're just, like, driving in a Warthog, then you rocket launcher off something, and everyone's flipping around.
While you're carrying a skull that you're getting points for, and everyone's trying to take from you, and you can beat them with if they get close enough.
And
It was a highly competitive game. Oddball is from Halo. You had like a game where you would get on scooters and snipers, you know? Like, what are you talking about?
There's a place for that competitive nature, right? But it doesn't have to permeate everything you do within multiplayer. Like, realistically, you look at the community, how little teeny percentage of that is competitive? Like, a little teeny percent. Everyone else is here just to have a good time.
True.
And then some people really
Alright, where do you need this?
get competitive, and then, like, you know what, just, sweetie, just have a good time, just have fun, okay? Also get your KDA. I'm very proud of you, because I am also that person who's like, I gotta get my positive KDA or else I'll be really grumpy tomorrow, and that does happen sometimes, but I'm gonna have fun while doing it. And I kind of think about that with, just to kind of compare to an ongoing game that's still kicking. It's Dota 2. You're like, oh, of course, oh god.
Take
Miranda.
a shot if you're playing the unlocked drinking game at home. Miranda mentioned Dota.
None of my cats today, though. But the reason I kind of come back to this is because one of the reasons I really love it is that you do have a lot of flexibility and creativity there with your item builds or how you use mechanics, and you don't see Valve necessarily patching those out.
Hey, first try, we'll have a positive.
But I think whenever you get to the pro play and stuff, people are using these in really cool, creative ways to work with what's given to them. And of course, every
Alright,
will change.
let's see if we can get
Sometimes those
a
things that
quick
worked before
traversal
don't
to
work
the
anymore,
nearest
but there's
city
bound
that
to
I
be
don't
something
have
new
done,
that's cool.
which
And
is
I don't
Cesara.
think Halo's necessarily has the same sort of space just because mechanically it's a little different. But as you're saying, Dustin, like those cool movement tricks and like certain weaponry and other things, like that's just part of the joy of it. Like, yeah, sometimes it can be annoying for certain people, but it's not like they're spawn camping and sitting in a corner. Like that stuff, yes, please get rid of that. Like the genuine issues that actually make something
Florence?
either broken or
We'll go
incredibly
to Florence.
unfair. Absolutely. But if someone learned how to do a cool like movement trick and then I can go practice that and then do it myself, why not? Like that's a fun thing about Halo. I'm sure there's some people like,
Alright, we're gonna increase this recording a little bit by trying to do another relatively shorter trip.
Issue too, right? Like if you do have a competitive mode, like if you do that in ranked and those certain things are not available, that's fine. Like that is totally fine to have those separate like things. It's like this.
Oh,
is
I'm
for
in the
ranked,
location
not.
that this is.
You see that a lot with other games. Like for instance, like Halo. Like there's captain's mode, which is what you do for the ranked and like kind of for more competitive things. Certain heroes aren't in that because they're not done being like tested and all this other balance stuff. Have that mode be the hardcore. You're sitting down, you're doing the lean, like you're getting sweaty. Great.
Well, that kind of works out.
Let us flank ourselves across the map, please.
I don't even know what my point is here, but this thought just popped into my head. You and I were talking about this before the show, Miranda.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's just weird to me that the smoothest.
All right, we're gonna hit this question mark on the way out.
New studio, purpose built to be the new caretakers of Halo. The smoothest project.
All right, we're going to Florence, which we haven't been to before, but we're also going to make sure we hit Cesara just so we can.
Their first project.
So we can say we did it.
Comes in, it's a beautiful game. Everybody loves it. It sells millions.
We're going to go a little bit out of our way, but that's fine because World of Trucks doesn't have a required time limit on it.
That you'd have your issues, your growing pains early on, and then as the studio gets established and gets its feet underneath it, gets its sea legs, that you'd see the problems go away. But it's not that like every Halo's riddled with problems, but there are these, again, to this point about about it being the flagship. That does matter in this context. It absolutely matters.
I think that's why we're
so a good bit of continuity. We continue from the last mission location.
We're just going to keep talking for a while, so FYI on that.
Also, I realized I didn't even answer whether or not this should be a service game.
Well, and again, I'm not necessarily looking for a yes or no answer to that. I just think, I mean, I'm just thinking about that aloud because, like, for me, I know, like, I'm not who you're selling Halo to anymore, I don't think. I'm a 20-year fan. You know, you need new fans. You need to grow your audience. You can't just rely on the people that have been there for 20 years.
Absolutely.
But
right.
Like, as far as I'm concerned, I don't need Halo to be a live service game. But again, I suspect that clearly Microsoft feels like the industry has changed such that Halo needs to be a live service game.
Let's see what this is.
I know I don't need it to be.
DriverNet, a recruitment agency.
If we just got traditional campaign multiplayer packages with a couple of rounds of DLC, and then we just
going a little fast.
We ate good on that for 3-4 years until the next one comes around. Like I'd be fine with that.
It says a lot that this whole reaction, this hour-long episode, everything we've seen on Twitter, you can boil it down to one thing not being addressed for the campaign: couch co-op. You pull out couch co-op, and that has spurned all of these conversations because you start looking at where they're at with it holistically and what they have planned for us.
I think it's more the straw that broke the camel's back, as it were. I mean, it's not that the community hasn't been frustrated.
That's what Dustin was saying, man.
This week. They clearly have, but this is now kind of the, like, you know, the delays, the long seasons, the wait for co-op, the wait for Forge, and now actually we're not even going to be moving ahead with. So it's the straw that broke the camel's back, and that's
what he was saying.
Right.
How do you launch a live service game? And sorry, Miranda. How do you launch a live service game where you don't have consistent cores, where your cosmetics aren't that interesting? To the artists that have worked on it. Like
I love that teddy bear that is pinned to my Spartan, okay?
Yeah, one thing, they got one thing right, but you can only use it on a certain one of 7. You know, you can't use it. And like by month 9 we have cross-core visors. It's something they're working on, but like how do you mess up cosmetics when that is your main revenue stream for a live service game? How do you not get that right out of the gate?
So,
sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I don't think there's anything to be sorry for there. I think it's a good question. So one of my big questions is when they were looking at this, what did they make for the distinction between just a normal multiplayer mode versus live service? Because I think there's a way to conflate those two, and people are like, what do you mean? Like, aren't they the same thing? Not really. Like, yes and no. It's sort of like how a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not a square.
Correct. Yeah.
Exactly that. And so, yes, you have
quadrilateral
ongoing supported mode, but the idea of whenever you say live service is it's something that's intended to live for a very long time. They want you to stay here. They want you to spend your money here. You want to invest your time here. And whenever you build something like that, Dustin, to your point, is that I think, and I would hope, that people go into it expecting longevity, building these systems that will be the foundation for everything that comes later. So when you have these cosmetic issues of like these certain Spartan cores, and there are these really cool prestigious items that only work for 1 or 2, but it doesn't make sense why they only work for 1 or 2, there's like all those confusing aspects. It's slow rollouts of content. Like as we were comparing with the maps, why are the maps so slow? Like, granted, the Halo maps have been stellar so far. I've loved them. The new ones, still pretty good too. And that takes a lot of fine-tuning. That's very hard to do. I'd much rather have them take their time with the maps, figure them out, and develop something that's good, that's viable in a lot of different play styles and different modes, rather than what I got with a lot of times with Call of Duty, which it's like, well, we're all camping this side of the map. The rest of the map does not exist. Like that sort of thing. I don't want to discount that. That is hard to do. However, if you want to say that you're going to be a live service ongoing thing, and maybe are we putting words in their mouth? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
They want to do battle pass. They want to do.
Yeah, they told you and I 2 years ago that we want this to be a platform for the next 10 years of Halo.
Exactly. You want to do that? You got to put the work in to do it. And I think, again, the people who are making these things obviously are really trying to do this, but at the same time, I don't think structurally, and it's going to keep going back to that, are having the support they need to make this, or having the pre-planning to even think about how to support this. And I think that's something that's so weird. It's like, why are these seasons so gosh darn long? What is happening?
22 new maps by this point for Halo 5. Two.
Well, that's just
although
where are the Halo 1 maps, 2 maps, 3 maps, 4 maps? Like,
they have resisted the past.
The community already remade a bunch of those in Forge. Like, just give the community what they want. Give us the old maps. Give us like a season with 6 of the old maps made in Forge.
Yeah.
The community is gonna do it like next week anyway, whenever Forge comes out.
Yeah, and I didn't. It's just really disappointing to see that, because I know.
Hold on, is that a rest area?
I know it is really hard to get these things
going. That is a rest area.
You've told like really good stories about Destiny, and we've already talked about other games that really had a hard time getting off the ground. And I think one of the reasons I brought up Anthem previously is because you took a team that was not necessarily used to working on a bigger service, multiplayer. Let's mix the story with the multiplayer stuff.
Yeah, they made single-player RPGs.
Yeah, and then it was when you got into the game, these were 2 different things, and you could just see it.
Well,
like, it was night and day between the different modes. And then the multiplayer side just suffered because you didn't have anything to do.
The worst case scenario of what you're talking about has played out in Xbox history before. Lionhead. Yeah. Lionhead was a studio that made Fable games. It made single-player action adventure games that were awesome.
Grudge Purchase.
And then they movies. One of my favorite games.
That's true. That is true. And then
Fair Verona.
There were management, meaning like Microsoft, decided, oh well, the next Fable, we're going to do this 4v1 ongoing multiplayer thing. And the studio wasn't structured for that, and it ended up costing a lot of people their jobs because the game didn't work. Studio was shuttered, and I'm not suggesting again that's what's going to happen here.
Hire a new person.
But, Destin, I want to come back to something you said earlier about Joseph Staten kind of just having to go out there and be the body shield
on the chin.
Yeah, and just exactly, just take it on the chin. And again, without working there, it's impossible to do anything but really kind of speculate from just where I'm sitting. But I, for one, given Joseph's, I've spoken to him so many times over the last 20 years.
All right, we're going to continue from here.
When we went up to go see Infinite ahead of the launch,
calming presence. Every time I've talked to him.
I feel like I trust Joseph. But to what both of
and then we'll be back in Italy for doing more of Mali locations.
See what Halo looks like from scratch with Joseph calling the shots, because he parachuted in to try and it was like a fireman parachuting in with a hose just to try and put out fires and get everything under control and done. I feel I have a lot of faith in him based on his track record in the industry and with Halo, but. It's the support structure around him and the studio structure, and that's where I wonder, are Bonnie, Matt, Phil confident in the structure that's there now? Have they changed the structure at all?
Nicely lit tunnel.
In response to these delays, to these issues,
And to also bring up, there's a lot of things to consider here as well with development, and that we did, and we kind of technically still are, finishing up a pandemic. That was a big wrench in the game, I'm sure, for development. And I've heard plenty of people say it was well, that was a learning process of how to develop just across the world with as big of teams as they have and these huge assets. Like I think even on our end too, like we've had trouble like trying to get assets to each other just because it's like, well, this is very large and now I'm doing it from my home internet and I hope it uploads fast enough because I'm sharing it with X number of people and all these kinds of things. So that's not, of course, not to make an excuse, but something to be considerate of that there have been a lot of developmental challenges. And I think with like just also giving some credit, like we like the base multiplayer and how it works when it works. I remember over the holidays, Big Team Battle just broke and it's like, well, you know, they deserve to have a holiday too, but also I really wanted to play this with my friends on the holiday, so that's a bit of a bummer. And so like just that's like speaks to, you know, having some support stuff figured out. And then also I would say I really like the idea they had for the Battle Pass as far as it being turn it on whenever you want it kind of thing. And of course we had the big XP issue of how that got rolled out. It's just like a lot of good ideas or things that just weren't executed, I think, to what the community would want for support. It's like the idea of having a battle pass that lasts for a long time, or basically forever, and you can turn it on whenever you want after you buy it. Fantastic. Very good for consumers, especially for folks who don't have a lot of time to play through these events, and you do have still some event exclusive things.
And then stay right?
Lovely. But then, you know, then there is issues with that, and it took a long time to solve those issues. And
that cop freaked me out.
When it comes to, and I think we've all played enough like live service games to compare and be like, hey, you know, this other game that I played, they got so many maps, they got so much like events, even if it's just a few times a year, like there's something there always. And whereas Halo's, yeah.
I was trying not to speed, but I can't say that I care right now.
But this one is just,
a little bit in a bad mood.
just dragging our heels, and that there's, I feel like almost like a broken
for obvious
record,
reasons,
there's
I would
some
hope.
big problem structurally or something going on.
I would just love to be a fly on the wall in what have to be weekly or maybe monthly calls with Phil, Matt, and Bonnie.
Why is the back of the vehicle getting lit red a lot?
Like, oh, I want to hear some.
Is that just the way they're doing the streetlights?
Know how they're thinking about this. That's really like I just have a curiosity about this. Is what I'm trying, because again, they know they're not all, the three of them are not sitting in their offices going, everything's fine, everything's going butter smooth with Halo, and we couldn't be like, no, they know that there are these issues. So I would love to be a fly on the wall to know kind of how they're approaching this, how they're thinking about it.
I wonder how they're going to respond to a lot of these conversations as well. Obviously, we're not the only ones having this conversation.
Phil has probably turned this episode off at the dog part by now. He's probably like, oh, because we've been going on for
I'm not sorry.
Almost an hour.
I get it. Halo's not great, guys.
No, I'm not trying to say like, no, Phil, he's great, and I know he and I have had plenty of like off the record conversations about sort of the way that we as IGN and Unlocked kind of think about what Xbox is doing in the industry. And but yeah, at this point he might be like, okay guys, can we move on to another topic?
We do actually have other topics to talk about.
We do have other topics, and I think we are about ready to move on. But yeah, maybe some closing thoughts on this from each of you.
Okay, going to Cesara.
Well,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Miranda.
Okay, I'll go.
And then exit
I'm gonna play co-op with my sister, and I'm excited for that. But also, I'm still a little sad for everyone else, and I know I'm gonna enjoy the heck out of playing the campaign again. But I do hope that they revisit the campaign couch co-op option in the future, and I do hope that we see some messaging about how they're feeling about things, or if they're going to stick with their plan of not ever coming back to it, or what else is coming on the horizon. As you have all said, that they are pretty good about messaging, so I'm interested to see what they say next.
Destin?
I think Forge is going to blow up.
Yeah.
Just based off of what we've seen leaks. We saw somebody make a Toy Story level. We've seen all the old maps come back. Yeah, a Doom-inspired level. I think Forge is going to blow up in a big way, and I think that might give Halo Infinite new life, at least long enough until this team at 343 and the management can be restructured or whatever needs to happen over there, allowing them to come out looking like sometime late next year with a big campaign drop or whatever they have.
I don't know why you're waiting, but I'm just gonna act like it's a yield.
All these delays and all these L's, they're not happening for no reason. They're working towards something, and I'll be interested to see what that is in 2023.
And for me, I want I just want some stability for this franchise, because as a fan, I'm
22 of 26 Imperator.
frustrated by. It was frustrating leading up.
I have to
the
double
launch
check
in
where all the cities
2021.
I'm missing are,
Obviously,
but
the
it might be
year-long
possible
delay,
to finish that achievement in
but
this
It's been.
stream.
It's
I
been
guess we'll just have to
years
see how it
and
goes.
Years of instability. For the longest time, we got
Get ready.
a
to
mainline
turn left.
Halo game every 3 years, like clockwork. There was a little, there was the handoff
left.
from Bungie to 343 where we got, what do we got? We got ODST in 09, Reach in 2011, and then 4 was 2012.
Wait on
So
me to pass your
actually
path,
got more,
dude.
we got more Halo in that window.
At the
But
roundabout. Take the third
the
exit.
last now, we went 6 years between Halo 5, which had already left a bad
Exit
taste in
now.
a lot of players' mouths, mine very much included with regard to the campaign. And now
Go straight on.
there's just more frustration, more instability with the ongoing trials
smell
and
burning.
tribulations of Halo Infinite.
That's
So
probably not good.
I want stability.
Unless
I
it's
want
bacon.
To be
Go
able
straight
to
on.
But
look
my nose
forward
can't tell
to,
that.
Either a blue team like ODST, kind of smaller thing, like a 6-8 hour experience, or I want to look forward to every 3 to 4. I know games are getting more
Take the second
complex,
exit.
taking longer to build with more people. Maybe a mainline Halo every 3 years isn't realistic
Exit
anymore, but
now.
every 4. I don't want to wait 6.
You should have one every
years
generation, like a Mario
between
Kart or something.
games anymore. So that's what I want. I want
ready to
stability.
turn right.
For stability as a player in terms of the content I can expect, and I want stability for the team so that I as a player have the confidence in that team that they're going to deliver something awesome that
Turn
is
right.
becoming, that is deserving of the Halo franchise. Which again, I think at least that part, we got a great campaign in Infinite. We got a great campaign in 4. We got a great multiplayer in 5. I guess we're still waiting for everything to completely come
Let's
together,
see.
but it's just I'm.
No, we
really
probably don't have
want to
enough.
see
Unless
what
those cities
the
are close
future
together, we probably
holds,
don't have
if
enough
we
time to do
will
that this
hear
stream.
about
But
major
I'll look into it.
shakeups on the management side, or not, or new talent coming in and inspiring a new direction, or what might happen. I don't know what will or won't. Maybe everything's just going to stay the same.
we still made all those viewpoints and question marks
I
progress
think
in the
we'll see what
last
happens to Halo
sitting,
over
even
the
though we
next
didn't get
2 to 3
any
years,
of the big money
because
payout.
if another
So
2 to 3 years goes
as much as
by
that
and I still
sucks,
have
it's not like there was no progress.
even
We
remote
got a bunch of
clue
warehouses
when
and people in it because we
I
were
get to
traveling for so
rock and roll
long.
with Master Chief in a campaign again. I don't know. Eventually
But I was
the
listening to podcasts. It's not like there was
or the
conversation that
enthusiasm can't help but
are
wane a little bit.
gained
If,
by
you know,
that.
It was a tough wait.
I don't know
this
what happened to
for
Gaffer.
Infinite, and thankfully I thought the campaign delivered, but I wish the best for 343, but we'll see what happens.
Keep left.
All right, that was a good hour. Actually, almost on the dot. Good stuff.
Wow.
I don't know how many of our audience was like they just tuned out and were like, I'll catch up next week.
Welcome back, maybe.
I just want Halo to be amazing. That's all I want. Just
Yeah.
do that.
And again, I won't apologize for spending an hour on that because we do all care about this. We all.
It's the most
It's-
important franchise for Xbox. in my
Our
opinion.
room is
'Cause
green.
I mean, I think Forza Horizon is
Yes.
pretty important
Yeah.
at this point.
Let's move on to something a little happier here, and that is some Game Pass news. The friends and family that we talked extensively about last week, as Destin is making some notes on the fly in our shared Google Doc here. Xbox Game Pass friends and family. We had the logo leak last week. We speculated on some
Wait,
pricing.
the thing where you can share your games with friends and family?
Turns out we were pretty on the money. In fact, Destin himself, in
One of us
bold,
were.
says he's really on the money with it. Literally on the money, because the prediction has come true from Destin Legary, and I still feel like I might end up being correct here in North America, but or I guess the United States specifically. It's launched in a test market in Ireland, also down in South America as well, but Ireland kind of the more probably one-to-one comparison for our sake. It's 22 euros per month. As of now, the euro is 1-to-1 with the US dollar. Therefore, it's the equivalent of 22 US dollars per month. But we do tend to our pricing.
I missed the conversation last week, guys. Can you go into more detail? What are we talking about?
Numbers more like 5s and 10s. So I could definitely see this going up to $24.99 for when it does come out in the United States, but hopefully not. Hopefully it will be $22, $21.99 a month, because that would make Destin happy and make him more correct, and it would certainly save us all a few bucks a month, which would be nice.
Great price point, just saying.
But yeah, Destin, this is it. Certainly for Irish listeners right now, this is a fantastic deal.
It also happened like right when I said it would, which I didn't think would happen, but at least for Ireland, this is great. I'm very excited for the Family Pass, especially for somebody with a child. So I'll definitely be partaking in this program in the near
Whoa, what's it
future,
do? What's it
and
do?
Hopefully it saves people some money. There's a lot of questions, like you have to be in the same, not house, but you have to be in the same continent, I think.
Yeah, I think it was just the same country. There were no other geographical restrictions.
I can do that.
Which is interesting. So
I'm interested in whatever this is. Please elaborate. Good grief.
Canadian friends that we can't share this with when it launches.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mitch. Sorry,
we're
Mitch
not
Dyer.
sharing.
You're on your own for your own Game Pass subscription, buddy.
yeah, but good news, great savings for families. I love stuff that saves me money. So let's go Xbox.
Yeah, Miranda, you think it'll hold at 22 for this market, or you think they'll nudge it up a little?
$21.99, please.
Please.
I'll take it. Give me a penny less.
Yeah.
Do the 99 thing. I don't know, why do they do that? I'll get up later.
I don't know. It's been a thing forever, and I think every generation wonders, why are we still doing that?
Keep
Why isn't
running.
it just $22? We don't even have, like, pennies are barely even a thing in our currency
Whenever
anymore.
you actually get the .99 in any retail environment, it makes me so angry. I was just like, are you kidding me?
Straight up.
I just keep it.
It's a psychology thing. It's a psychology
I
thing.
figured,
remember
yeah.
studying this in business like years ago in high school. It's something about the psychology of
Seems
doing
less.
.99. Yeah, you feel like you're getting a good deal because
I
you're
don't
not
feel
paying
like it.
22.
Hey, Agnes couldn't find a job. Damn, Agnes.
Which,
You round down 90.
well, 21 versus $22. Guess I'm not making rent this month. Like, it's $1. Weird. But let's talk more good news. Phil Spencer, if he's still listening,
Hi,
has
Phil.
he knows this already, but he confirmed what we all suspected, that Call of Duty, along with Diablo, Overwatch, those
Lawrence
big
discovered
Activision
22,
Blizzard
23 of
franchises
26
will be
Imperator.
coming to Game Pass, but will still be releasing on PlayStation on the same day. This was discussed in a Microsoft blog post. Spencer confirming that Activision Blizzard's library of games is coming to Game Pass once the acquisition goes through, which includes Call of Duty and other blockbusters like Diablo and Overwatch. Quote, "We
Excellent.
intend to make Activision Blizzard
I might go
much-loved
back through all the
library
Call of
of
Duty
games,
campaigns I've never played.
including Overwatch, Diablo, and Call of Duty, available in Game Pass, and to grow those gaming communities. By delivering even more value to players, we hope to continue growing
Get
Game
ready
Pass,
to turn
extending its appeal to mobile phones and any connected device." Again,
Turn
none of
left.
this is a surprise at this point, but boy, you take a look at it for as short on
Get ready to
blockbuster
turn
titles
right.
as we've been in 2022, because we've still gotten plenty of good games on Xbox, and we've talked about how there are still a
Turn
few
right.
more to come this fall. But sure, all right, if we're a little short on blockbusters this year on Xbox, Game Pass,
Go
which
straight
already
on and then turn
I guess
left.
we are short on
is
blockbusters.
indispensable to, I mean, it's just a,
Turn
the
left.
value is there. I won't say it's a no-brainer because, $10 a month or $15 a month for
Keep
Ultimate
right.
isn't necessarily something every gamer can budget,
At
but
the roundabout.
True.
the value has already been there. But if you're in the
Exit
Xbox
now.
ecosystem, and next year, between Starfield finally landing, Redfall finally landing, some of these other long-awaited first-party games finally landing, and then Call of Duty drops in, which it'll be obviously Modern Warfare 2 that's out in October. There is no Call of Duty game next year, but you got Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 will drop right in. Diablo 4 could be day one Game Pass.
Seems like a confined space, but where do you need it?
When the acquisition closes and when Diablo 4 lands, but it won't be too long either way. And then
on the back?
Overwatch, I mean, the dam officially breaks on Game Pass, Blockbuster, AAA, because that's been like, right, Destin. Destin is out there. He loves to mix it up with the Twitter community, let's say.
Yeah.
Destin loves to get out there. And one of the things that Destin, and that I know you hear a lot out there is, oh, well, Game Pass is like, it's like cable TV where there's tons of channels, but there's nothing good on.
What?
Like, well, not anymore. Right, Destin? This is, it's about to go down is, I think, the fair way to say it.
Well, yeah, I will say, though, that I am concerned that having full control over this powerful catalog, especially in light of Microsoft's already strong position in gaming consoles, operating systems, and cloud infrastructure, could result in Microsoft harming consumers by impairing Sony's, Microsoft's closest gaming rival, ability to compete, as well as that of other existing rivals and potential new entrants who could otherwise bring healthy competition through innovative multi-game subscriptions and cloud gaming services.
Where are you reading this from?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was actually just reading. That's an actual quote from the CMA in the UK, by the way. That's what they said. So imagine I said that. And what's your reaction? Yeah.
Miranda, how comical is it that, like, if you actually look at the industry in a real way, how comical is the idea that restricts
just give me the
Sony's
results
ability to compete?
Okay.
It's insane, particularly when Microsoft has
All right, where are the next three cities?
That we're still going to put this stuff out.
Pescara.
PlayStation.
Yeah, it's a
Turin.
yeah.
Still in the U.S. I mean, still not the U.S. Still in Italy. I don't think it is.
Like, I don't.
It might be.
Yeah, don't they have 70%
No,
of the
no.
digital distribution market right now?
Also,
Like,
there's just a
Yes.
lot of.
So I can't hit it this stream.
All of this, even if Microsoft
For anybody who's watching
was
later on
all of
YouTube,
it, was taking all these
I
off
would
the
like to
table
thank you for
Sony,
watching.
saying, nope,
This
these are
has
Xbox
been Euro Truck
exclusives
Simulator
now.
2, presented by
It
Improvision
still
Entertainment.
would be a
I have been
ridiculous
Hunterman,
assertion
and
that
I will see
it
you
restricts Sony's ability
in the
to
future.
compete. Like,